Let's talk about 𝗍𝗫𝗀𝗏 Slimane. This is the Sheff United Way, and as the end of the season draws ever closer, we are talking about some of the players who maybe haven't had the chances to shine for the Blades this season and for whom we have a decision to make. Do they stay or do they go? Now, today's video is all about 𝗍𝗫𝗀𝗏 Slimane. So what do we know about him? Slimane is 23 years old. He's still quite young. He's got plenty of room to develop and he could grow into English football in particular. He's not been here that long, nor have we seen really what he's got to offer. He signed for the Blades last summer from Danish side Brøndby. Now, for them, he had done okay. He'd played over 100 games for Brøndby. He'd scored 9 goals and he was part of a team that had won the Danish Superliga in 2021. And he joined the Blades for a fee reported to be around £2 million. I am taking my fees from Transfermarkt. Now, Slimane is also one of the most internationally recognised players in the current Sheffield United squad. He has 30 caps for Tunisia, including playing a role in their 2022 World Cup squad, where he started against Denmark and he started against France before their elimination in the group stage. Now, he did catch the eye just a little bit during that World Cup. It was reported that following the game against France, Kylian Mbappe actually sought him out. He walked over to Slimane, he asked to swap shirts with him, and he said to him, "I'll see you in the Champions League." Maybe that was a mispronunciation, maybe he said, "I'll see you in the Championship," because that's the most likely outcome. So, how has his season been with United? Now, honestly, it's probably been exactly what we should have expected when United signed Slimane last summer. This was a low-cost, low-risk transfer where United were clearly trying a new tactic in the market. We were trying to buy players for low fees from undervalued leagues that we would then be able to develop before moving them on for a profit. Slimane was a gamble, but he did come with a pretty big upside and a decent pedigree. So we thought that picking him up, we could take £2 million and we could turn it into significant profit. That doesn't quite seem to be the case. Let's be honest with ourselves. That doesn't seem to be what's happened to us so far. Looking at Transfermarkt, that told me that we paid £2 million for him. It also tells me that he's still only worth £2 million. But at that price, we didn't have much to lose, and it was worth the gamble. On the pitch this season, he's actually played more than I realised. I did not expect to be looking at his numbers and seeing that he'd made 15 appearances in the Premier League so far this season. But we do have to temper that. He's only started 3 games. Interestingly, they are 3 big away games that he has played for the Blades. He played away at the Emirates when we got done by Arsenal 5-0. He played away at Villa Park when we got a really, really good result in a 1-1 draw away at Villa. And he started at the Etihad where we lost 2-0 away to Manchester City. So you can see there that he has been trusted in these big games. He is obviously seen by the fans, by the club, by the coaching staff as a player who you can rely on to do his job defensively. He's clearly been relied on there to use his energy, to use his physicality, to disrupt these teams and try and make sure that while they are going to have all of the ball, it's not just comfortable for them. It is interesting, though, given what we knew about Slimane when he joined United. Scouting reports that we saw at the time when he was coming to the club told us that he was a technically gifted midfielder. He was good on the ball with an eye for a pass. He was a really good dribbler and somebody who had a really good shot on him, especially from just outside the box. But, and now this is the key part for me, which shows just how we've used him so differently from what we thought we were getting when we signed Slimane. They told us that he is more suited to a possession-dominant style and that he struggles in a direct style of play when he can't get on the ball. That is the complete opposite to the environment that we've provided for him, particularly in the games that he's actually started for the Blades. And that is echoed in his stats across the season. I'm looking at these stats per 90 because it's only fair that given the limited amount of time he's had, that we look at them within that context of what chances he has had. But he's had no assists. He's had limited chances created. But he has had promising cameos from time to time. Particularly, I'm thinking when he came off the bench against Brentford at home. United were 1-0 up at the time. He played the majority of the second half. And he actually stood out that day from when he'd come on. On another day, he could have had a goal or two where he was getting in really good advanced positions. And maybe that's something that we'll look at and try to build around if he does stay with the club next season. Now, it's clear to me that from what we've seen on the pitch from him so far this season, we can't properly judge Slimane and his future with Sheffield United. The fact is that he just hasn't had a chance. You know, this season in this team, what he has done, it doesn't inspire me with confidence, but it also reflects that the coaching staff haven't trusted him. They've not trusted him more than the youth players that we'd rather bring through. You know, we look right now at what our midfield is, and we've got 𝗜脾𝗱𝗶𝗲-𝗏𝗏. Very clearly, he's going to be the future of Sheffield United. He's going to be nailed down in that midfield spot for as long as we can keep him at the club. So that's one position that's gone. Andre Brooks is probably in the same space. He's dropped off a little bit in recent weeks, but clearly he's a young player with a bright future who we have a lot of belief in. He is ahead of Slimane deservedly in the pecking order. And again, for as long as he's at the club, he's likely going to be one of our starting central midfielders, I would expect, unless something changes through the summer. We've then, of course, got 𝗍𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗓. Now, if 𝗍𝗏𝗃𝗓, however we want to say it, if he's going to stay with the club, we will build the squad around him. He is the best player that we've got at the moment, and therefore, if he stays, very clearly, that's another one of those midfield positions that is just completely locked down. So to me, that says that we've already got our midfield set for what we want it to look like next season and for the future iteration of the squad. So if we keep Slimane around, it's very clear that he won't be playing a starting role for the Blades. However, in the Championship, we will be more dominant. We will have more of the ball. We will be in control of games. And from what I've just said, from what we heard about his role in teams when he was back in Denmark, from when he was playing in possession-dominant teams, maybe that's going to suit him. Maybe we will actually start to see those qualities that are coming out in him that we were told we should expect. Now, if someone turned to you this summer and said, tell you what, United are going to sign a good dribbler with an eye for a pass and a good shot, I think we'd all take a gamble on that. We'd want somebody with those skills coming into the club. I, for one, would be a particularly happy boy. I'd be a happy boy if we signed somebody who I was told had all of those different skills. So if we've got that player in the squad, should we be letting him go, or should we be trying to see more about him? Maybe we should give him the chance to show us why we signed him in the first place. But of course, there is the other side to this coin. We have to consider our options. Is there a market there for somebody who will pay money for Slimane? There have been rumours in recent weeks about a move coming from clubs abroad, and maybe they'll come in and give us our money back. And if they do, look, we know what summer United have got ahead. This is a huge rebuild. We have got to completely reshape this squad. Every single penny is going to account because we can't afford to be in the position we were last year. We start this season with a 2-point deduction as a result of the financial difficulties that we had only 12 months ago. So we can't forget that. And therefore, if we do receive a decent offer, if somebody wants to give us our money back, we have to consider it. And we have to look around. You know, we can't afford to get this wrong. We can't carry passengers next season. And this is our most important summer for a generation. So we've got to get this right. And so if the coaching team don't like Slimane, if they've not liked what they've seen this season, if he's not showing it in training and he's being jumped over by our youth players, then we do have to listen to and consider anything that's coming forward. Now, ultimately, my verdict is that we should sell if we can get our money back. But I don't really see why we should take a loss. I think if somebody's not willing to give us the money we paid, then we might as well see what he's got to offer in the Championship. Give him the tools, give him the environment that he's thrived in the past. Maybe we start to see more from him and we actually get the best out of a player who, on his day, could potentially be a very good player in the Championship. But that's enough from me. We want to hear from you. Have you seen anything from Slimane this year that makes you think that there's a player there? Do you think we should sell if an offer comes in, if we can get our money back? Or do you want to see us try and give him that environment to give him what he needs to thrive in a Sheffield United shirt? Thank you so much for watching this, Blades, and please do keep an eye out, as we will be looking at more players as the season comes to a close, and we will be trying to figure out just what we do with this Sheffield United squad that was just so underprepared for a season in the Premier League and with a massive rebuild ahead.